Hello, everybody. My name is Jorrel from Mintplex, as always, joined by my co-founder, Mr. Jimmy Karambad. No, I'm just kidding. Well, actually, not just kidding. He's actually here. You can see him.
I'm actually here. I'm really here.
Yeah, he's really here. He's here in the space with us. It's been 2 weeks since our last episode. Which
we did take a break.
Episode 14. Yeah. Tim went to Hawaii. We'll have the vacation episode released sometime in 10 years. It's been 2 weeks and 2 weeks of absolute insanity. And I don't know what is going on, but we needed to record this podcast because we actually had a lot to say in the last 2 weeks. And then some bombshell of actions have been occurring in the last 2 days, which is just out of nowhere. We had a lot to say anyway. And then 2 days, So in this episode of the Mintplexity podcast, number 15, we will talk about everything that is going down, whether it's the Silvergate Bank shutting down, Binance getting delisted on Coinbase just removing Silvergate from their wire transfers, SVB just shutting down this morning, as well as the meltdown, and then the base L2 launch, and then just a bunch.
Also, there's the USDC's undisclosed exposure to Silicon Valley Bank, who also shut down. I don't think people, just to give context on this episode for anybody that's watching or listening.
Everything is happening live.
Right now. It is 10:52 Pacific Standard Time on what day is it? March 10th? Yeah,
March 10th.
We are recording right now. And we're going to talk about all the shit that happened in the last 2 weeks that we meant to talk about, and also the shit that, as we are doom scrolling Twitter, what the hell is going on? I think let's start with good news, right? Are you a good news first or a bad news first? I'm more of a bad news first, but I say let's do good news because it's like the distribution between good news to bad news for this podcast will be about 10 to 90. So,
I mean, we got, well, here's the thing, Tim, right? We before all this happened the last few days, we had some really, we had a lot of good news stuff that we're going to be putting in this podcast, a lot of exciting roadmap things. Yeah. And then the last 24 hours just happened. So I think it's best if we start with the good news and just talk about some of the awesome stuff that we're doing. Yeah. And then we can talk about all the crazy shit that is happening right now as we speak.
So let's start off, by saying this for the people who are dying to listen. Mintplex is fine. Silicon Valley Bank fallout, we have no exposure to. The USDC stuff going on, we have no exposure to. Silvergate, we have no exposure to. We are okay. So Mintplex is still staying around. So if you were wondering, we're sticking around and nothing bad's happening. In fact, actually, we are hiring right now. If you go to Y Combinator and look up Mintplex, we have 2 job openings for product marketing.
Product marketing and support specialist.
And then a full stack dev. Yeah. If you're a full stack dev and you want to work with me, you'd be working directly with me, hacking away on literally the pioneering tool in this space for creators. So if you're interested in that, or you're interested in helping grow Mintplex's audience, you can join the product marketing role. But either way, we're looking to grow our team by 2 more heads at least in the near future. And so that's still underway. That's still happening. So if you're interested, we'll put the job link in the description of the video.
Or not, or you just have to listen through this and find it yourself. That is your first test. Find the application, test. All right?
Yeah, if you can't find us on Y Combinator and apply to the job, you might not be a good fit.
Yeah. So go find that. And also we'll know who's our dedicated supporters if you actually listen to this. So
That's true.
Ducks to duck.
Yeah. More good news is also that we are working on a really cool tech demo, actually, that I think people are really going to like. So why are we building a tech demo? This tech demo, think about what Mintplex can do. If you've used Mintplex and you know about our ecosystem, which is what we have now, is a fucking ecosystem. It's so crazy. We are using every single thing that we offer to build this tech demo, which will be free for you to mint and use and experience. This will be free to you. But we're basically building it's a video game.
It's a truly on-chain video game. All right. It uses the best stuff.
Which, by the way, let me level this right now. It is a game that's actually fun to play. It is not a game that uses crypto for the sake of crypto, which you would probably have seen, is a horrible experience from end to end if you've played any on-chain games. This is actually a fun game to play. You probably already played it, but it now is all on-chain, and it's actually a ton of fun. We're gonna make probably a YouTube video about it and post it on the channel once it's live. But that should be live probably next week is probably when we'll make the whole demo live. But we have it working right now, and it's we played it last night, and it was actually a lot of fun.
It was. I'm just saying, like
there's some Easter eggs. There's some Easter eggs I hit in there too.
Yeah, you're gonna have to look hard for these Easter eggs, but if you do find it, nice.
Yeah.
I will say though to those listening, we do have the socials live, so if you want to check out or follow us for the updates on where the tech demo is getting deployed and whatnot, just find us on Chainslayers NFT. Yeah. That's what we're calling it, Chainslayers. If it sounds a little familiar, it's exactly what you think. It's exactly So
it's going to be a ton of fun.
Yeah, but it's free, so it's free. Free and all that stuff.
Free.
We're not making a dime on this. We're super excited to just showcase like the awesome
what's possible. Yeah.
Of our tools.
We figure it's easy to tell people everything that you can do with Mintplex, but it's even better to show you what you can do with it. And so that's what we're doing with this tech demo with Chainslayers. So at Chainslayers NFT, right?
Yes, at Chainslayers NFT. I'll link it. I'll show it on the screen somewhere as well, and you can go check it out as we showcase some of the screenshots and updates as we're about to release the tech demo. So check it out.
Cool. Another thing that we did, I guess, this is just a change to Mintplex for like changes. We now have adopted the Zora model, which is also the same model that Manifold has. And basically, you know how we are 0% on the creators, like creators can mint and earn money and we take no fee on that. That's fine. To keep Mintplex free because costs are kind of, reaching parity now, we've decided to adopt a model that seems to prove that's proven by Zora to have literally like no downside effects, which is awesome. So thanks to them for piloting that, where basically now on a mint, there is a 0.000777 fee on the transaction. If you buy 100 tokens, it's the same transaction fee. It does not scale. It is just per transaction. And just in fiat terms, that is actually it's actually less than $1. It's like 97 cents right now. So this is a very small fee, but over a 10K collection, this does help Mintplex kind of sustain. And also we can take this money and invest it back into our tools. And
which is going to become way more important. Yeah. We're just going to be way more important now. This is
yes.
Like we recognize the unsustainability of keeping up our tools without a way to somehow even in the smallest ways possible upkeep our launchpad. Since we're shifting a lot of our focus into building up Mint Foundry, we do need some money coming in from Launchpad that isn't just Pro Tools. And this is the best way that we've seen other competitors and peers make money.
By the way, let me be absolutely clear, is that if you earn 10 ETH on your mint, whatever your mint fee is, you still keep 100% of that money. We take no fee on that. There is no fee to the creator. There is simply essentially a service fee when someone goes and mints your project. And it is less than gas. It's actually it is so insignificant that it doesn't matter. But that's the whole point, is that it doesn't matter to your buyers and it has no impact on you.
Yes. So it's almost as if we're taking a part of the gas, part of the transaction.
Yeah.
For Mintplex's operational cost. And like I said, it's already in the variance or the variability of the gas. So it should have no impact to you and your mint. And we've seen it most free mints. It doesn't affect basically anything in regards to the interest of your project. So
if you're one of those people who are relying on bots minting your project, which is like, it is a strategy as odd as it is, this actually has no impact on that either. That strategy will still work. So there you go.
If there's any consolation to that. And we know a lot of y'all use that as a good way to market your projects. So it's been tried and tested, and we wish y'all luck as you try to expand your communities. So
other than that though, Mint Foundry, tools on Mint Foundry side. I mean, we talked about how we had unlockable content. We're working on some other additions to Mint Foundry. The API for Mint Foundry is live. So if you have a game, which you'll see how our game uses Mint Foundry, because we use Mint Foundry in our tech demo, you will see the absolute insane amount of power that gets unlocked by dynamic NFTs, especially when you hook it up to, some custom stuff that you own. So we'll have some Medium articles that talk about the kind of high level implementation, also the more technical side. And also we'll have a YouTube video discussing those points as well. If you wanted to try to build your own on-chain game with dynamic NFTs and you don't have to pay $10 gas to update the metadata every single time. I find that insane that Zora's quote unquote dynamic NFTs, you're paying like $10 in gas every single time to update. It's fucking ludicrous.
Yeah.
You can never build a game with that.
Yeah. You just, I mean, it wouldn't even be a game. You're just playing glorified gacha every 5 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is a game, I guess. I mean, if you love that.
If you want to play the burn money simulator.
Oh yeah. I mean, most people in crypto do or something, right? Like we love burning money. On a side note, though, we did end up supporting Base, the L2.
Base launched by Coinbase.
Launched by Coinbase, their L2 recently, and Tim did that as soon as he touched down from Hawaii. So he is absolutely insanely fast. We're now just waiting for L2 official, the mainnet base. Launch, and we'll immediately have that supported as soon as it's made available. So
it was literally Base announced the launch of the testnet, and we were the first launch pad to actually adopt it. And it worked. We had people deploying automatically. I put it in the Discord, and people were making Gorley contracts. I mean, It was literally within an hour of the announcement. It was live.
So keep a lookout for that. Base. Base is interesting. But they'll never give us credit. Unfortunately, but we will be.
Oh no, because we weren't the official partner. It's fucking bullshit.
Well, I mean, we also were never invested by Coinbase Ventures, so there's that too.
That's true. We don't have our bags there.
Conflict of interest. No, I'm just kidding. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. A lot of that happening apparently. So But lastly, one other thing that we do want to let everybody know, in regards to Mintplex is we've been getting a lot of inbounds asking about subscriptions and expirable NFTs. Know we are working and tirelessly.
That is tasked. It is going to happen. You will be able to do it.
Yes. We've been getting a lot of y'all asking about it, and we've heard you. We see you. We've blocked you. I'm just kidding. We didn't block you. We've wanted to, but you've been loud enough for us to know that expirable NFTs and subscription NFTs is a demand now. And as we always do with all of our new products and features, if at least 5 of you complain, we'll have to at least triage it. And a lot of you have DM'd us and asked us to actually make this service available. So we'll be working on that. That is the next big thing for the Mintplex Launchpad. And
it'll be fun too. Expirable NFTs. We're going to give you all the tools, by the way, for people to mint, people to re-up their subscription, also be able to keep tabs on who's going to expire or has expired or when they expire. We're giving you all the tools. Don't feel like we're just giving you a contract like most people would probably give you and then just be like, good luck, have fun. No, we're going to support the whole end-to-end flow for you because it's not really Mintplex if we just give you a contract. That's not really the game we play. And I think that is the end of good news.
That is the end of that. Yeah, that was a lot. See, we were going to I don't know if you understand, listeners. We were going to spend the entire podcast talking about all of that stuff because of how excited we are about this tech demo, how all this, and then Silvergate immediately shuts down yesterday morning.
Yeah. And now people are probably wondering, now there's probably a lot of people here, like if you are in our shoes, right? Like you're a founder, you run a company that has to do with crypto. You're probably wondering like, oh, okay, yeah, I heard on Twitter or whatever about Silvergate, but you have no idea who Silvergate is. It kind of, I guess, like in short form, Silvergate was a bank that helped people offboard crypto to fiat, and it was used by a lot of exchanges, one of which that you probably have heard of is Kraken. And so Kraken would take your crypto, convert it into cash and send it to you, and you wouldn't have to pay a wire transfer fee. You know, it's ACH.
Yeah, and it was ACH. Same day most of the time too.
Yeah. So really cool. And honestly, a huge bastion for the crypto space in general, for companies to be able to operate, because as you can imagine, like just put yourselves in, a company shoes, for example. You can't pay employees with crypto. Most people won't take it. It's complicated for tax reasons. You need to wind up paying people in cash. So even if you earn money in crypto, at some point you do need to turn it into fiat to be able to send it to your employees and pay for services. If you have AWS, like AWS is not going to take ETH,
No.
Yeah. So Silvergate recently, like literally yesterday, told everybody that they're shutting down. This comes, I think, what was it? Either was it the week before or was it on Monday? Coinbase announcing that they are no longer working with Silvergate to offboard or something like that. Was that?
Yeah. It was literally late last week, and then earlier this week they officially stopped. And then it was in the same conversation around delisting Binance. So yes. A lot of those things we're talking about Silvergate's insolvency, and I freaked out because I was like, "Damn, how are we going to go and wire all our money out?" And thankfully, Kraken has de-risking measures, so they do have an alternative partner. But it's a little bit more expensive per wire transfer to use this partner since it's a traditional bank.
Still works.
Still works though. Still works.
Yeah.
But yeah, it basically Coinbase was the harbinger. Would that be right? Or the premonition to a larger.
They had some alpha that they probably were privy to that they shouldn't have been privy to. But, they know people, and also they have literally someone from the SEC sitting at their fucking company headquarters pretty much 24 hours a fucking day. So I'm imagining they got alpha from somewhere. And in this space, I mean, let's look historically being like literally like 4 months ago. When there's smoke, there's fire. And when the Terra Luna collapse happened, it was basically like, oh no, it's FUD. And then it turned out to be real. FTX, oh no, it's FUD, turned out to be real. Now, I'm not saying that all all predictions are true, but if you would look at Coinbase breaking connections with Silvergate and that coming to fruition, their movement against supporting Binance could, in all fairness, they could have done that and put those in the same conversation simply because Binance is a competitor to Coinbase. So there is something there to where it's like in their best interest to try to like lump those two together, and they're no way related. If there is problems with Binance, if there is like insolvency problems with Binance that are yet to be uncovered, the absolute contagion of Binance collapsing would be, I can't even fathom the fallout of that. But either way, TLDR, you should be de-risking where if you have all your money locked up in an exchange, it actually might be safer in a fucking hot wallet at this point.
Just be careful out there, folks. You might want to keep your money in something that isn't going to completely be insolvent within the next 2 weeks or so.
To be fair, Binance's on-chain treasury that they have for their kind of Seifu fund or whatever does have all of its money in it. So it's not like that money's gone. So at the time of this recording, like all that money's still there. So they should be solvent. I'm not going to sit here and try to predict their solvency. I know jack shit about their business.
Yes, but the most important thing to note is that Silvergate is shut down. And then literally 24 hours later, another behemoth called Silicon Valley Bank that's just shut down. And that is what's been freaking out everybody this morning, including ourselves and our investors. Not a good sign.
Okay. Time to introduce you to another bank in this podcast. So Silicon Valley Bank is a very reputable bank. I think it's like the 20th largest bank in the United States. They're very, very popular. They are a regular traditional bank. They don't do anything crypto related, but they are an extremely popular choice for startups because of just how startup friendly they are. Most startups are way too volatile to open like a regular account with banks that are too big to fail. There's always like complications there, especially if you're in crypto. No traditional bank is going to let you push money through there because of exposure with people who do bad things like launder. So there's a whole bunch of things that go into this, but basically Silicon Valley Bank, regular bank, they issue loans, they have mortgages, and the majority of their client base is startups. That's pretty much the only thing you need to know here. Is it startups, and some VCs also run their funds out of Silicon Valley Bank. Today, they were seized, essentially. I guess you would call it like a seizure
Yes.
from I forget what the governmental organization is, but basically now the FDIC insurance whole thing is now in effect for everyone who was a user of Silicon Valley Bank. So you get up to 250,000 and everything else will get rolled into equity, I believe, right? Is that what?
Yes. And basically they'll be selling SVB for parts, and there's no telling how much you'll get from his fallout.
And just to hammer this home, okay, so we personally have no direct exposure to Silicon Valley Bank, which is fortunate, but I'm sure everyone in this space has indirect exposure. Even if you've never heard of Silicon Valley Bank, you probably have indirect exposure to this. This is a bank that literally collapsed. That was one of the top banks in the US. Like I can't drive home how serious that is, especially being in the regular traditional finance ecosystem. We are not a traditional finance podcast, so I am not going to try and talk about all of the follow-on effects of this, but we can talk about it in terms of what might happen with a lot of the popular crypto startups and just other startups in general that are much smaller, that may have had all of their seed round in SVB. Like, what happens to those people? I mean, imagine that you were a startup who just raised, $5 million, right? And you had all of that in Silicon Valley Bank. You now only have $250,000 worth of runway immediately available, which you also still have to get from the FDIC, which I'm sure will be still a pain in the ass. All of your other money, you are now a creditor to SVB. And depending on what happens to SVB's essentially skeleton now, you may get money back in the future, but that it might be at a discount. Some people are talking about a big bank jumping in and bailing out SVB and just acquiring SVB for essentially probably pennies on the dollar for whatever their debt is. I don't know. Nobody knows what's going to happen. If Silicon Valley Bank just dies and the FDIC just bails out everyone for whatever the insurance amount was, that is still not good. Because most people had way more than $250,000 in there.
Yes.
So, we're not talking about, regular bank accounts. Like the average citizen only has what? I think it's like $3,000 in their bank account. Something like that. It's some extremely low number. Which if you have more than that, you're actually doing quite well. Silicon Valley Bank was geared more towards startups to raise money. And that is more than 250,000. And venture capital firms will use SVB to deploy money from their fund that they raise. So we're looking at, I can imagine in the next, over the weekend, hundreds of thousands of startups that you have heard of are probably going to be closed come Tuesday, Wednesday, when they realize over the weekend that they have no path forward because all of their money just kind of got.
Here's the argument about like a big bank bailing them out. The three largest banks in the United States is Citigroup, Bank of America, and JP Morgan Chase. And yes, JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, they have $3 trillion of total assets. That's great. $3 trillion. That's they're too big to fail, right? But their market capitalization, even JP Morgan is only $488 billion and Bank of America, $325 billion.
Yeah.
So there is literally no bank that has enough liquid that would be willing to take on this debt and be okay. Yeah. They would have to go and take their market cap and literally pay for the debt because it's $209 billion of debt. I don't think people understand.
That money's not liquid. Some of it's tied up in 5-year treasury bonds because interest rates for I think it's 5-year treasury bonds or 10-year treasury bonds are like something like 5. But something like 5% right now. They're insane. So we're not a traditional finance podcast, but this is still relevant because the reason that we're talking about this is, okay, all right, think about this in terms of how people view crypto as a store of value. What does this mean for crypto in general? You could say this is a bull case for Bitcoin. Someone could say that. And I know the Bitcoin maxis right now are literally like vibrating with literal, like they have veins popping out of their forehead, just wanting to scream, Bitcoin fixes this. Okay. It doesn't fix this because the only way to get the fiat money onto Bitcoin is to go through an exchange who may have been using Silvergate, who no longer exists. Like I'm trying to putting your money in Bitcoin is not going to solve this problem right now. Of course, I know any Bitcoin maxi is going to be like, well, you just don't understand, blah, blah, blah. Once again, we have to say this every single podcast. If you are a single chain maxi, you are dumb. I'm sorry. I'm not even gonna mince the words anymore. I'm not gonna say it's unwise or whatever. I know I've been friendly. You're an idiot. Okay. If you believe that a single chain is going to win, you're an idiot. Okay. I don't care if any people get mad anymore. I don't give a shit. Blockchains are tools. They all have different use cases. If you cannot see that, then you've already lost. And that's not my problem. But I just, man, I don't know how any of this fixes it. And we don't know what the fallout for crypto is going to be. What if people wind up just needing their money and they all liquidate out of Bitcoin because it's a store of value? It is a strong store of value in crypto right now. I didn't even mention that USDC Circle, who runs USDC and issues USDC, they just reported who reported that, by the way?
I think it was in an email that was shared on Twitter. A screenshot was shared of it on Twitter. Okay. But I think it was literally USDC or Circle was literally sharing it with everyone.
Let's take this with a grain of salt, right? If Circle has exposure to Silicon Valley Bank and it's a non-negligible amount, that becomes issues because you can't have a stable coin that isn't backed. Well, I guess you can if you're Tether. If you just tell everybody that the money's there. Imagine a stable coin, something actually backed and real, like USDC, no longer being able to meet demands. If there were to be a bank run on USDC, you have Terra Luna Part 2. This all sounds like FUD. I understand it all sounds like FUD, but the reality of the situation is some of these things are possible. I mean, I don't know another way to frame that. I'm not trying to say be scared or anything like that, because at the end of the day, for the majority of people, life goes on. Creators are still going to be monetizing, using crypto to monetize. They're still going to be launching projects because ETH has real value, and there are ways to offboard it. It's not like there are no ways. It's not like if you have ETH or Bitcoin, you can't get it out. You still can. You just got to use wires now, which costs more, but it is what it is. The convenience wrapper is gone, I guess, for offboarding. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that's pretty much it. I think that's everything.
The thing is, listeners out there, we're about to go through a very, very interesting time because not only is this happening, but there's also, as constantly been said in the interwebs and the world, there is that looming recession that is happening as we speak. We just had a massive layoffs in the tech sphere not too long ago. So if there's any survival mode kicking in when it comes to startups and the tech space, it is now. We are in Hunger Games, dude. This is Hunger Games right now for startups. Because if you had any money put into, and it doesn't matter if you've avoided SVB as us, right? A lot of VCs and funds that invested in us and invested in a bunch of other companies had their money in Silvergate and in Silicon Valley Bank. It doesn't we're crypto, right? We're crypto. So there's a lot of people who use them as an offboarding, Silvergate, and then SVB was where a lot of people stored their money.
Yeah.
So there's going to be looming outstanding effects, not just within startups and tech, but also with the VCs that have been generating a lot of funds to go startups.
Let's put this in a practice problem. Okay. So Jay Levy, who on Twitter, I think, what is that, like Zelkova Ventures or something like that, right? Yeah. Just tweeted this. It's a very good way to frame the SVB problem with startups. Okay. If you have 50 employees making an average of $150,000 a year on your payroll, that is going to run on Monday because it's going to be the middle of the month, around Monday. That is $350,000. If you had your money in SVB, let's say you got your FDIC insurance today, you cannot make payroll because your payroll is more than the insurance.
Yeah.
And like 50 employees is a ton. That's a ton of people. But there are companies in this space, in crypto, and also just in general, that have more than 50 employees. It's a very reasonable thing to say. Yeah. What happens? Mass layoff. What happens? Mass layoffs? Because if your company can't make payroll, I mean, Jesus, like that's DEFCON 1. If you can't make payroll, you get a loan. That's if they could. If you're in crypto, I don't think you're getting a loan. Yeah. Also, your loan is going to be 10. Your loan's going to be 10% interest. Like, oh God, dude, we don't know. Also, there was a tweet earlier about some companies having VCs try to fight founders back for equity, to basically like nullify safes or just get their money back because
priced rounds.
Just trying to hedge their losses as well. In the end, everyone loses. Retail loses the most. Founders get hurt. VCs get hurt, and the only people that win are the lawyers who have to litigate all of this.
Yeah.
And the government, of course, is just going to sit there and be like, yeah, I don't see how that's my problem. That's all they're going to do. Yeah, maybe this is a good case for decentralization, but I also think that most people aren't ready for decentralization, considering that it's a regular occurrence. For example, Hedera, HBAR, if you are one of those people who use that chain, what was it, like their bridge or something got hacked, or what was it? Let me find it again. Yeah,
they got hacked. And all the wallets or something got liquidated.
Let me see. They exploited the smart contract service that basically on mainnet to transfer Hedera token service held by victims' account to their own account. Okay, so it was a bridge. How much did they liquidate? Do they have a number on this volume? Yeah.
It doesn't look like it.
It does not say. It looks like they patched it. That's great, but all of that money's still gone. Anyway, so that's a regular occurrence in blockchain, is for people to have all of their shit stolen, which is a reason that decentralization is a good libertarian ideal, but it's definitely not practical for the majority of people. So.
Yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day, we're building tools for creators, and we're fine. And so that's what we're going to continue to do. But I understand you always have to look at the macro environment, and Mintplex is going to survive. We didn't come this far to, for something like this to indirectly shut us down. Like, that's not happening. We're not going to allow it. So, yeah. Don't have to worry about that. We're still going to be around. You want to launch projects, you want to make money, you want to go and, build a community, build an experience, build a game that's actually fun to play. All that stuff's still possible because we're still here kicking. So, but at large, expect some volatility in the near future.
Yeah. And thankfully, for all those out there listening to this pod, at the very least, there's time, right? Like we're not in a situation where it's being completely, blindsided by all this. There's still time to act. There's still time, to do stuff. There's still time to hedge your bets. So all of those out there, make sure to de-risk. Make sure to stay enthused, because that's really all we have going for us right now. Anyone in the startup space, if you startup folks are listening to this, just de-risk and stay optimistic. You don't know what's going to happen. This is what the startup life's all about.
Yep. And it's what a time to be alive. May you live in interesting times, right? The worst curse you can ever have. Yeah. we will see.
Yeah. Well, anyways, we could continue to beat this to death as there is more.
No point.
There's always stuff happening. Like I'm looking at Twitter and it's just going wild. But we don't want to bog you down there. Y'all out there listening, you're probably going to have a different experience once you've listened to this podcast. We're just reacting to a lot of things live here. But is there anything else, Tim, we want to give to listeners as we end this episode of the Mintplexity podcast?
No, I mean, tech demo is going to be live. We're staying around, and we're always building. That is not changing. Those are 3 constants you can count on. Water is wet and Mintplex is building. That's pretty much all you can count on. Other than that, I'm sure some of the details from this podcast will be outdated by next week. So this will be an important historical marker of just like where the sentiment was prior. But yeah, we'll see. Will cooler heads prevail? Will things wind up being totally fine and all of this be a non-issue? Who knows? But we'll see.
And you will be there with us. So,
yeah.
Well, with that, as always, make sure to test on testnet. Keep your wits about you. Follow us on all of our socials. We have a new one for our Mint Foundry account, so make sure to follow Mint_Foundry for any updates on our Mint Foundry tool. And as always, follow us on Mintplex NFT. If you found this podcast, you obviously know our YouTube channel is live. And yeah, just continue to hang out with us and see where things go. But with that, thank you so much, Tim, for your time. And we will see everybody in the next episode, where hopefully next week we have some more optimistic, excuse more on the optimistic side than the holy shit, everything's on fire side. So
yeah, we'll see.
Peace out.
Peace.